Hi, I've been participating in Inktober on and off for a few years now, but I have never recorded it, so I thought I would do it this year. Plus, I knew I wouldn't be drawing anything else, but I still wanted to upload new videos for you. Also, I had vastly different plans for this year's challenge, but the last couple of weeks weren't great for me, so I decided to do something simpler and I went with cuts. And to complete the illustrations, I will be using a fine liner and a black watercolor paint. And that's it. So the first prompt was gargoyle, and for this one I had a rather clear idea of what I wanted to do. A 3/4 view of a stone cat sitting also on a stone, but for background I wanted to do a city view, and you could see at one point I drew a diagonal line and I wanted that to be a roof. I just thought it would add some interest to the drawing, but when I started to paint the cat and the stone it's sitting on, I decided it would be too much and that the texture of a roof and the stone would clash. So I just went with a gray and night sky. Second prompt was scurry, and I didn't know what it meant, but Google says it means to move hurriedly with short, quick steps. So that made me think of a mouse. They're small, quick, and cats catch them. So I drew a confused kitty surrounded by mice, and I had troubles with making them appear fast. When I was sketching them out to try and see how to go about it, it didn't look great, but I drew it either way, and I think what was lacking in these sketches was the color. I mean, there's no color in these paintings, but you know what I mean, the filling. Once I made the brush strokes on the mice fur, that looked better. I also made their tails longer and drew movement lines around them. I'm not 100% satisfied with the result, but it's okay. Day 3 prompt was bat. And of course, the obvious choice would be the animal, but I didn't want to draw the obvious thing. I thought it would be fun to have a kitty play a baseball game. He is waiting for a ball to hit and he's very determined. At first, I didn't think of giving him any specific team clothes, but while I was painting, I thought of making the cat wear a New York shirt and hat. Get it? New York? I'm really sorry. I did have some troubles drawing this cat. I wanted the pose to be dynamic, and for a long while I couldn't get his arms right. I don't think I ever got his arms right. So overall, this definitely isn't my favorite illustration here. Prompt for day 4 was scallop. And what's a better idea than to draw a cat mermaid holding a scallop? Well, probably a lot of things, but that's what I went with. I didn't want to just draw a plain cat eating a scallop or something, so I figured a mermaid cat would be a cute idea. I like this one because it's so simple, but I think I painted scallop a bit too dark and maybe it doesn't read as one too much. I also had some troubles figuring out how to draw the scales on the cat's tail, but I went with just a few scales here and there, and I think it looks cute. Day 5 was flame, And out of all the drawings from this week, this one was the hardest to come up with. I was considering maybe a close-up of a cat's face and flames being reflected in its eyes, but I wasn't big on it. Then I thought about this idea, but I was like, it's gonna be too much, and both the flame and the cat will be tiny, and I don't know if this is what I want to go for, but I sketched it out and I kind of liked it. It was a lot of work, yes, but I think it was worth it because it's my favorite illustration from this week. I wanted to incorporate fall themes into it, so on top of the fireplace, I drew some pumpkins, candles, and what was supposed to be a picture of leaves. I really enjoyed drawing the bricks. It was surprisingly calming, and I like how cozy this whole illustration turned out. Bouquet was the word for the sixth prompt, and I instantly thought of two cats on a date or a cat asking the other one out on a date with a bouquet in his paws, but then I thought leaves would be much better than flowers because cats love leaves. They like to play with them and gift them to their owners. And again, not sure if the leaves translate well in the drawing, but that's what they're supposed to be. But anyway, this illustration caused me a lot of trouble, specifically the cat on the left. She just looked off because I didn't really know how to draw this ooh, I'm blushing pose. Mostly the twist of her body was hard for me to draw, and the end result isn't ideal, but it's not bad either. Next prompt was trip, and even though I think the intended meaning for this one was going on vacation, etc., I took the other meaning. Falling after catching your foot on something. So this poor kitty, in a true cartoon fashion, tripped over a banana peel. There is not really a lot to say about it because it was very quick, but it was a fun drawing, and despite it being so simple, it perfectly captures what I wanted to convey. And speaking of, the last drawing for today's video was also very simple. And yes, the videos will be 8 drawings each, except, well, last one will be 7. It just made more sense for me to divide it like this. But anyway, day 8 was much, and just like the previous prompt, you can interpret it in a couple different ways. And I used the being similar or complementing each other meaning of the word. So I drew 2 cats sitting right next to each other, and their fur patches are shaped like heart halves and they match. I didn't want anything to take the attention from the heart, so I went for minimal detail. I just did the cat's outlines with only a couple extra lines around their tails and shoulder blades to indicate shape. So that's it for this week's Inktober video. It was fun, the prompts weren't too bad, which I can't say about some of the future prompts. There's a couple really weird ones this year, but I'll worry about them when I get there. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video and I will see you in the next one. Bye!